20,000 years ago, Earth was a completely different world. Most of the planet was locked in the final stages of the Ice Age. Massive glaciers covered huge parts of North America and Europe. Temperatures were much colder than today. Life was shaped by harsh weather and endless ice. Forests were rare, and tundra stretched across continents. Animals and humans had to adapt to survive the extreme cold. Everyday life depended on nature's mercy. The oceans were frozen in many regions. Sea levels were more than 300 feet lower than today. This created massive land bridges between continents. The most famous was the Bering Land Bridge. It connected Siberia and Alaska. This allowed humans to walk from Asia into North America. The United States looked completely different back then. Much of Northern America was buried under glaciers. Only parts of the South and Southwest were ice-free. These warmer zones became home to early human groups. The Great Plains were a frozen grassland. The Rocky Mountains were covered in thick snow. California was cooler, wetter, and full of giant animals. Florida was twice its size due to low sea levels. The Gulf of Mexico coastline was far more extended. Alaska was a cold but dry grassland ecosystem. Every part of North America felt the force of the Ice Age. The world was quieter, emptier, and more dangerous. Humans lived in small groups, constantly on the move. Survival was the center of everything. Most people hunted large Ice Age animals. These creatures were giants compared to today's wildlife. The woolly mammoth wandered across Europe and North America. Saber-toothed cats ruled as fierce predators. Giant ground sloths roamed forests and plains. American camels and horses existed long before modern ones. There were enormous bison twice the size of today's bison, and massive short-faced bears stood up to 12 feet tall. Humans hunted carefully, using teamwork and strategy. A single hunt could feed a group for weeks. People used simple but effective stone tools. Spears, blades, and scrapers were essential for living. Fire was life, warmth, protection, and cooking. Caves and shelters were the safest places to stay. Life was tough, but humans were incredibly adaptable. They explored new lands in search of animals and safety. Their journeys shaped the future of entire continents. These early migrations would eventually lead to civilizations. But 20,000 years ago, everything was about survival. This was Earth at the peak of the Ice Age. People lived in small families or clans. Each group shared food, tools, and responsibilities. Children learned skills from watching adults. Everyone had a role in keeping the group alive. Hunting was the main source of food. Men tracked animals across long distances. Women gathered plants, roots, and berries. This balance kept ancient communities strong. Clothing was made from animal skins. Warm furs protected them from freezing winds. People crafted shoes, gloves, and coats with skill. They even used bone needles to sew. Tools were made from stone, bone, wood, and antlers. Nothing was wasted. Every part of an animal had a purpose. Houses varied depending on the environment. In cold regions, people built shelters of bones and hides. In warmer places, they built huts with wood and branches. Caves served as natural protection during extreme winters. People slept close together to share body heat. Nights were long, dark, and full of unknown dangers. Wild animals often roamed close to human camps. Fire kept predators away. Art became an important part of early human life. People painted cave walls with animals and symbols. They used natural pigments like charcoal and clay. Some paintings acted as spiritual or hunting symbols. Carvings and small sculptures appeared for the first time. These artworks tell us how ancient people saw their world. Music also existed long before civilization. People created simple flutes from bones. Rhythms came from stones, sticks, and drums. Music may have united groups during rituals. Spirituality was deeply connected to nature. People believed animals had powerful spirits. Some groups worshipped the sun, moon, and stars. Night skies were clearer and brighter than today. People relied on the stars for navigation. The Milky Way guided travelers across open land. The Earth felt much bigger and emptier than it does now. Humans were just one part of a huge natural cycle. Danger was everywhere, but so were opportunities. People adapted to environments all over the world. Each region developed its own unique lifestyle. Communities shared what they learned through stories. These stories became the first form of history. This ancient knowledge passed down through generations. It helped humans survive for thousands of years. These traditions shaped the early world. The Ice Age slowly began to warm. Glaciers started melting across the world. Rivers grew as the ice receded. New plants began to spread across the land. Animals migrated into fresh territories. Humans followed the herds into new regions. North America changed rapidly during this time. Forests grew where ice once dominated. The Great Lakes formed from melting glaciers. Rivers carved out the landscape we know today. Warmer climates helped human populations grow. People started settling in favored locations. Food became easier to find in new environments. Humans started experimenting with plants. This eventually led to the beginning of farming. Farming changed human life forever. For the first time, people stayed in one place. Villages began forming across the globe. This was the first step toward civilization. People built better tools for farming and gathering. Trade between groups became more common. Early societies began sharing knowledge. The world felt more connected than ever before. Resources and ideas moved across long distances. People learned to store food for the future. This allowed populations to grow even more. Homes became larger and more organized. Communities expanded into early towns. The shift from nomadic life was complete. Humans now shaped their environment. Climate continued warming steadily. Animals reacted by moving into new ecosystems. Some Ice Age giants began going extinct. Mammoths, giant sloths, and saber-toothed cats disappeared. Human hunting and climate change played a role. New species became dominant in the warmer world. Humans began domesticating animals. Dogs became one of the first animal companions. They helped with hunting and protection. Life became more stable and predictable. Communities grew into complex societies. Knowledge expanded beyond survival. People started studying stars, seasons, and weather. This knowledge improved farming and exploration. Humans now shaped their destiny. The world we know today began taking shape. It all started with ancient humans adapting to a harsh Earth. This was the world 20,000 years ago, the beginning of everything.